1, which is public comment on agenda-related items. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and speak to any of the items on tonight's agenda, this is your time to come up and do so. So with that, we'll declare public comment open. And seeing nobody jumping out of their seats, we'll close public comment on the agenda-related items and move right into item 2, Avery Trace, Phase 1A final plat.
This is deferred
Oh, is it deferred?
per the agenda.
Well, that one was really easy then. All right, item 3, McCain Station Residential Phase 2B final plat.
Carpenter, staff planner. So Charlie is doing the next two. All right.
Good evening, Commissioners. My apologies on that. Item number 3 is the McCain Station Phase 2B final plat. The owner and applicant requests the approval of the final plat for McCain Station, consisting of 29 single-family lots, 1 open space tract, and to create right-of-way on 5.71 acres, zoned as MRO, multiple residential and office, located on the northeast corner of the intersection of State Route 386 and Big Station Camp Boulevard. Planning staff has some minor comments.
All right, thanks, Charlie. I do have a representative for the applicant this evening.
Chris Mayberry with Reagan Smith. Just any questions you might have. We have this 2B and 2C. We have one more residential section after this one to close out, I think, all of the residential portion of McCain Station.
Okay. Any questions or comments about the?
You know, we agree with all the comments and have her getting ready to put all her responses back in and move on.
You else have any questions on it? This is pretty straightforward. So, all right, we'll see it back a couple weeks. And then we'll go ahead and move into item 4, which is McCain Station Phase 2C final plat.
Now, this is by the same developer. The owner and applicant requests approval for a final plat for McCain Station, consisting of 57 single-family lots, 3 open space tracts, and 1 future development lot, and right-of-way on 16.11 acres zoned as MRO, multiple residential and office, also located at the intersection of Pryor Drive and Tompkins Lane at 386 and Big Station Camp Boulevard. Staff also had minor comments on this one.
Okay, sounds great.
Chris Mayberry with Reagan Smith. Same comment as before on
Okay.
2C, or 2B rather.
Yeah, now these seem like pretty straightforward things, great consent agenda items. So, all right, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Thanks. All right, item 5 is Walnut Crest Townhomes final plat.
Jim Carpenter, staff planner. The owner and applicant request approval of a final plat for Walnut Crest Townhomes for 150 townhome, single-family attached lots on 31.1 plus or minus acres on MRO, multiple residential and office district located at Walnut Crest Drive. Staff had mostly minor comments on this. One thing, I guess, that we want to be aware of, and we are working actively with the applicant on this, these kind of 6 units kind of butt up to a recorded utility easement. And there was a couple of units, I believe it's 43 and 44, these 2, the northern 2 in this 4 building, that HVAC units are backing up into that. We're working with the applicant on sorting that. They've sent an exhibit in, and staff is reviewing that.
All right, thanks, Jim. Representative for the applicant, please.
Corey Nelson, 615 Design Group. Just a note on there, the 4-unit, that's backing up to utility. For some reason, between when we went through the preliminary plat to now, it got moved back like 2 feet, just that block in CAD. And so it reprinted out that way. When we moved it back, there was no conflict with the existing utility easement there. Just wanted to make that note. And we are like you said, we are working with them, but just want to make that apparent.
Okay. I mean, this is kind of like the other one. It's all pretty straightforward, so. Just more question in general. I notice it's very visible from the 109 area. Was it intended to be that way, or did some stuff get cut down that wasn't supposed to? Or, I mean, I'd have to go back and look at the landscape plans to see how that gets screened back right there, but.
Yeah, I mean, the landscape will go back in. I think it's just the nature of how it ties into the ramp and how, honestly, that ramp is not as steep as you think until you see that land where it's kind of graded
Yeah.
off to it, so.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it, when it comes back. But yeah, otherwise, I don't have any comments on this. It's, again, pretty routine. So, all right. Well, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Item 6 is Kirkpatrick Farm annexation.
The owner and applicant request the planning commission to recommend approval of a resolution to annex and a resolution for plan of services for 3 parcels totaling 106.85 acres, plus or minus. This is tax map 135, parcels 097, 098, and 096.01, zone county rural residential. This annexation is contiguous to city limits in many places, and staff had mostly minor comments on the annexation.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Do we have a representative for the applicant?
Joe Kirkpatrick, 1287 12 Stones Crossing, Goodlettsville, 37072. I am the co-applicant.
Okay. It's good to see you, Joe.
You, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
members of the planning committee.
Yeah. So, I guess my first question I would have is, as I know we're not talking about the development of the property, does this potentially allow that Clear Lake Meadows Boulevard connection to come to fruition?
We are doing everything we can to help facilitate that. In fact, the developer, D.R. Horton, has come to us and asked us to provide an easement, which we are amenable to that, yes.
Okay.
So, and we have, if neither of the one thing I would like to say, if neither of the neighbors on the left or the right will concede any land, there is a 60-foot wide space in the corner of our adjoining lots where a road could go through. I mean, it'd be nice, obviously, I think, for the city to have more.
Right.
But it's doable. So, anything else for me?
Not that I can think of. I mean, anybody else have any questions about the annexation request? I mean, we've been looking at this general property in this area for years, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's impossible to make money farming there because of where it is. So, you can't have livestock on it because it would cost $1 million to fence the farm to keep them in. And, as much as we'd like to keep farming, I'll be 59 in a couple of weeks, and my brother's 61, and our children aren't interested in farming. So, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I understand. I don't,
The only comment I have, without seeing a plan, it, I guess, provides some comfort knowing that there could be a resolution for the road connection. So I think that's good to hear.
no, I think it is. I think like on a lot of these, it's in the city's interest to have the influence over how this property redevelops in time.
Correct.
And that's,
We're under contract, and we'll have a developer in to, there are plans, being presented, and we're going to very much we're not going to ask for anything outrageous in terms of density, very similar to what you've seen in the neighborhood already. So we're not trying to blow the lid off of anything. So just, we're just going to try to keep it right in that sweet spot just above 2.
sounds good.
Okay,
All right, thanks, Joe. We'll see you back in a couple weeks.
thank
Sure.
you.
Item 7, Lower Station Camp Creek, Phase 2 annexation.
The owner and applicant requests the planning commission to recommend approval of a resolution to annex and a resolution for a plan of services on 3 parcels. Tax map 137, parcels 701, and 702. So this is the second phase of the lower station camp assemblage. So parcels 1 and 5 were annexed into the city in February, I believe. And the owner and applicant are requesting approval for the other 3 parcels here to be annexed. We will have updated city limit lines that show that. This is a contiguous annexation, but we will have an updated map that shows that by the voting meeting for planning commission. With that said, staff has very minor comments on this item.
Do we have a representative for the applicant?
Good evening, Clay Haynes, Public Square. More than happy to answer any questions.
My only question is, I'm assuming this is similar to the other 2 where this cleans up some electrical service.
That's right.
For
That's
the
exactly right.
properties and-
There's no existing plan dissimilar from the previous annexation. There's no existing contracts on this, and whatever that is, that will come back before this body for how it should be used.
Okay. Other comments?
Yeah, I didn't have any comments. I mean, you guys were upfront saying this was going to come right behind the other one as part of the process, so. All right, well, seeing none, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Thanks, Lee. Item 8 on the agenda is Nichols Place Phase 4 Preliminary Master Development Plan.
All right. The owner applicant requests approval of a preliminary master development plan for Nichols Place Phase 4 consisting of 32 residential townhome lots on 5.62 acres zoned MRO, multiple residential and office, located Nichols Lane. So this kind of finishes out this Nichols Place development, connects to Duke Court kind of fully to the existing street network. We were out there this morning, and the developer has mostly finished kind of Ferguson Boulevard. It's not top coated, so I think they still have a few more layers, but most of that framework is in for Ferguson at this point. With that, staff has mostly minor comments on this item.
Thanks, Jim. If we have a representative for the applicant, please.
Jim Harrison, CSDG. Just to explain this a little further, these units are ones that do not have a direct sewer access, so this involves a pump station. That's why we held off on those, and that's why we're bringing them forward at this time. We were just trying to wait for the sewer, but we're going to put in a pump station, and we've met with David Kellogg about all that, and he's fine with what we're planning on doing. Just here to answer any questions.
Are these, refresh my memory, 1-car or 2-car garages? How much?
That's my question.
2, yeah.
The architecture is very similar to what's been put in already. There's a few details that staff wanted us to address on those, and we're getting those back to staff.
Okay. Is there, any opportunity for some extra parking anywhere?
I will ask that question. I'm making a note right now.
Because I do think anywhere, if we can get some extra guest parking on these, it really is desirable. So I know it's kind of last phase of this one, but if that opportunity,
Pick some of it up.
yeah. So may not be doable, but I'm still going to ask the question. But otherwise, I didn't have any questions on them. It's consistent with everything else they're already doing, so.
And I guess question for Jim, this is a brand-new PMDP for this phase only.
That's correct. So phase 2 and 3 both have FMDP approval. They're in construction of phase 2 right now. Almost every single one of those buildings is up, vertical. So yeah, this is a new separate PMDP for just this phase.
But we would be providing a recommendation to council for just this phase.
That's correct.
All right.
That was a little bit of why I explained why we held
Yeah.
off on this. It was always part of that overall layout that we would do this.
Yeah.
We just held off on it because of the sewer. And so we're just trying to bring that through now.
Understood. Thanks, Jim.
Well, see no other questions. Have a great night. See you
Thank
back
you.
in a couple weeks. All right, item 9, Chandler Marketplace, final master development plan.
All right, so the owner applicant requests approval of a final master development plan for Chandler Marketplace infrastructure on a 42.48 plus minus acre parcel. It's on MU and PGC, located north of Harris Lane and east of Greenlee Boulevard. So there's a few, staff had comments on labeling on this, but it was kind of a quick turnaround for the applicant. So what they're wanting to do is to separate out this private drive and some sewer and stormwater infrastructure and separate that out, similar to some other projects in town, from the approved FMDPs. So they can go ahead and install that private drive. And so this is kind of our mechanism for allowing them to do that. And so it kind of separates out sureties and different things as well. Outside of the labeling, staff had mostly minor comments on this. Like I said, it's not an approval for the apartment or kind of renegotiating that. That's the wrong word, but this is just for that private drive and the sewer and stormwater infrastructure, from my understanding.
Thanks, Jim. And do we have a representative for the applicant?
Brian Shirley with Arnold Consulting Engineering, pitch hitting tonight for Wes Pointer, who is the actual engineer on this. And then
Brent Easley with B.L. Bennett and Associates.
he's here to answer any questions if you have them.
Oh, CJ, you have any questions on it? You probably understand more why they're doing it than I would off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
it sounds like they need the FMDP approval on this so they can submit their ECP construction documents for review to engineering. Is that correct, Aaron?
Correct.
So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's no layout associated with it other than the road and the utilities in it. So it's, if engineering's good with the comments and they're addressing the comments, I'm good with it.
Is that a yes?
Yes. We're just working through the traffic impact study, but that's, other than that, just minor comments. So.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, well, it seems pretty straightforward, so yeah, we'll see you back in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, move on. Item 10 is Tennessee Grasslands Clubhouse and Event Space amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan.
The owner and applicant requests approval for an amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan for Tennessee Grasslands Clubhouse and Event Center to create improvements to the clubhouse, outdoor patio, and event lawn space on 2 acres zoned as MRO, multiple residential and office, located at 981 Plantation Boulevard. Department staff had mainly some minor comments regarding the landscape for this project. As you can see here, the comments were basically just my apologies. The comments were mainly based on just finishing off some landscape around the golf cart parking area, just to make it a little more uniform with the remainder of the landscape that was proposed, and then also to add some landscaping along the parking lot as per the requirements in the zoning ordinance.
Thanks, Charlie. Do you have a representative for the applicant with us?
Andrew Tarsi with Reagan Smith. We reviewed the comments and are in agreement. We'll make note that on the layout plan, there was a comment about the driveway width. Our intention is to use we will be demoing the existing cut, but the idea is to use the same geometry and curb cut that is there today. So we're not planning to increase anything. It should stay the same, but we're happy to work with staff on that and make sure we're very clear on our driveway width.
I mean, being inside of a residential neighborhood on a residential street, it should be doable to make that work, I would think. So,
Is that the tennis court? Sorry, but I'm curious as the actual changes to, it's just kind of hard to tell from this.
So there's multiple improvements on the Tennessee Grasslands campus, which is what you see on the PMDP. The FMDP, the construction documents, we only revised the Fairview Clubhouse sheets of that set, which you see with that revision cloud there. So the remaining sheets in that set did not change. Those improvements have been constructed. Now, they were approved by this body at one point, and now we've come back and revised this document for the Fairview Clubhouse improvement that they took some time to reevaluate and redid their architectural plans. So that's why we're here today.
Is this removing the guest quarters?
Yes, it is removing that old cottage, and the intention right now is to reutilize that material on site through some type of architectural piece. So it's definitely been thought about a good bit there.
My request was to relocate it, but I know that they were looking at some moving options because I don't think just reusing the materials is going to have the same impact that actually seeing the building would, although it's been updated, but still, I just hate to lose one of the few existing brick structures from that history.
Yeah, I mean, I will note that the club does have a few other structures that they have kept intact and respected over time, and this one is just
Very few. So,
understandable.
is that the only main change?
Correct.
And I guess to highlight the drive, I know you said the drive would be in kind with the existing, as engineering's issue that the drive's too wide?
Yes, sir.
How
Yeah,
wide is it?
The current drive it meets the maximum width of 35 feet. I think it's actually measured from the throat, from the radius, about 30 to 32 feet. And I think what was shown on the plans, just with the curb line, was going to be over 35 feet. So we just want to make sure that it stays within 35 feet or under.
And that's just radius to radius, or is that total, like, because it looks like is this a delivery drive?
Well, it does act as both. We have a service entry there up
Which
against.
is why
some
you
of the-
put the larger radius on the,
Well, and it should not be a larger radius than what is existing. And if we need to come in and accommodate that 35 at some point, then we will do that, as long as we still have our remaining surface and area to reach our service bay.
okay. That makes sense.
I drive by it 5 times a day. I don't see a problem with it. So
What about the tennis court? Is that,
that's not part of this.
So yeah, some part of it.
Yeah, this is just about the improvements right to the main clubhouse. So, I don't have any other questions with it, so. All right, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Item 11 is Fox Creek Final Master Development Plan. Jim's busy tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The owner and applicant request approval of an amended PMDP revised FMDP for Fox Creek, consisting of 138 residential lots on 57.5 plus or minus acres, zoned R8 PRD, medium density residential PRD district located at 1788 Long Hollow Pike. So there are a couple of changes to this development. Like I said, a small reduction in lots from 140 to 138. And then there's also some changes to kind of the stormwater infrastructure here. So we've got these two series of open spaces kind of breaking up these two blocks. And Staff's main comment on this item was regarding some of the grading in that area to ensure that it works from an engineering standpoint. Also, the applicant did submit architecture, but will obviously need full architecture elevations for all four sides. With this being an FMDP, we'll need that with the resubmittal. But outside of that, staff has mostly minor comments on this item.
All right, thanks, Jim. Do we have a representative for the applicant with us?
Hello, Andrew Walters with Catalyst Design Group. No objection to any comments. There's about 3 or 4 that will take some coordination this week with staff on the engineering and planning side that we'll plan to circle back and just make sure we're addressing how they want. We are working with engineering staff right now we have an application in for an LID waiver to treat stormwater using some volume 4, which would be Metro volume 4 measures, instead of doing pockets of bioretention. It doesn't seem to lend itself well for this type of development, not to mention the steep topography. So we're in the process of doing that. And again, we're happy to move forward and see you guys in 3 weeks. Unless there's any questions I can answer.
Yeah, but no changes. I know we went at length on some of the visibility from Long Hollow Pike. Nothing's changed from any of those approvals.
Correct, yeah, you'll see there's some estate lots that are side entry. I think that's one of the commitments we'd made at the PMDP. So the lots facing out to Long Hollow will be a side entry feature and that's some of the elevations that you see there. So no changes there. We actually lost a lot up by the bend in the road to increase the pond size as we got a little bit more in depth the engineering. The location of the roadway connection to the east has shifted down. It used to be one further drive up to the north. I guess plan right as you guys look at that. But that you can kind of see that was in line with an existing farm pond that's just off the property. And we also felt like it gave a little better spacing to both connection points, so we slid that down. So some little tweaks like that led to some of the lot decrease. But overall, it's basically the same plan that was approved.
Are you good with engineering's comments related to the grades in the open space?
Yeah, I think I understand what they're doing. I mean, normally we would do that as we get into the final CDs and the engineering plans. We will cut in those specific lot-to-lot grades, so we don't have a lot of that reflected.
Yeah.
Some of those are basement lots as well, so we have some line work in there that kind of reflects that, but the detailing is missing. So we'll clarify that with staff. We're comfortable with that. Like I said, I don't think there's anything in here that's causing us a concern of any kind. So.
Does have any questions for him? All right, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Thanks. All right, move on to item 12, which is Watson Townhomes Final Master Development Plan.
The owner and applicant of Watson Townhomes is seeking Plan Commission approval for their final master development plan on the parcel otherwise known as 126MB018.01 to construct a 2,283 square foot townhome building. That's just the footprint on the plan, consisting of 4 units on 0.30 acres zoned as R6, high density residential, and located at the southeast corner of Woods Ferry Road and Watson Street. Planning staff had numerous comments and concerns about the layout of the site relating to parking, stormwater management, and architecture. These concerns have been brought up in the prior pre-app. However, since the project was submitted prior to the pre-application meeting, changes to the plans had not been made. Gallatin zoning regulations allow for 2 parking spaces per townhome unit with an additional ADA compliant space. This project does not currently meet those requirements. As of right now, there are 7 parking spaces with 1 additional ADA compliant space. This does not account for visitor parking, which could intrude on the other residents' parking spaces and would therefore risk on-street parking to an already narrow Watson Street. The current parking requirements for this specific project would be for 2 units, like I said, per residential unit, for a total of 8, plus an additional unit for ADA, which would total 9. Planning Department staff encourages the applicant to reconfigure the site, allowing for driveway and garage parking, and then for the parking lot for the residents staff encourages the applicant to reconfigure the site, allowing for driveway and garage parking for the residents and possibly retaining the parking lot for visitors. And as for the stormwater management concerns, I will yield that to the engineering department. Let me switch over here to the architecture real quick. So concluding with the architecture, if the applicant were to make the aforementioned parking changes, these elevations will also change. The roof provides no variation. It is a single plane along the top and the sides. Staff believes that the current roof design may have been due to the need to direct drainage to the rear of the site behind the building. But if they end up changing the location of the retention areas, as engineering will talk about here in a little bit, the roof design could also be improved. Staff was also concerned that there are no windows on the sides of the building. Other than that, that is pretty much what we have here. The applicant is present, and if they wish to make a presentation.
With the applicant, wants to come forward.
Drew Ferguson, Greenwood Design. Going off of what Charlie said, we don't think this site lends itself well to driveways and garages, just due to the depth. Getting a 20-foot space in there would be kind of tight. I think the best decision will probably be to lose a unit, drop down the parking numbers, get that parking shifted, and then get the stormwater on the eastern property line instead of in the rear. But again, we'll work with staff, come up with the best option possible for this next work session if we need to defer it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it needs a major rework
Yeah.
to be close to acceptable.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, again, this was, go ahead.
What is the situation with the roof line?
So you can see here, I'll go back to the other slide, Charlie, the grading plan. I'll go back. So on the rear side, we've got the detention area and forebay. So we're trying to collect all the roof water on that way, where if we had a V-pitched roof, it'd be kind of difficult to get that water around to the back.
Couldn't you accomplish the same goal with a conventional gabled roof and pipe your water to the back rather than have a shed roof?
Yes, we were just trying to make sure that we got the water all the way back there. If you start running pipe, there's not a whole lot of depth on the site, so trying to get water to flow and not back up. We're just trying.
Site also falls to Watson Street, so it would be very difficult to get water from the front to the back.
Does not look appealing.
Yeah, we got some problems we gotta fix.
well, I'm
Especially
hoping,
no windows on the side, too.
yeah, I mean, it needs windows, it needs to look good, it
Yeah.
needs to fit. The visitor parking, and we've talked a lot about parking tonight and even,
Yep.
last week's meeting, that, even the two parking spaces per unit is barely adequate, and I hope that's something when we do our zoning updates, we spend a lot of time talking about, because
Right.
as soon as someone has a third car or somebody spends the night or something, you've got people parking out on the street, and that's
Right.
just not a good,
Yep.
it's not good. So, but, anybody else have any other comments on it? I mean,
Agreed.
yeah, thank you, ma'am. All right, we'll see you back. Thanks. Item 13, Smith Memory Motors Parking Addition, amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan.
Okay, the owner and applicant requests approval of an amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan for Smith Memory Motors parking lot addition to construct 16 additional parking spaces on 1.05 acres. This lot is currently zoned as PGC, Planned General Commercial, and it is located at 961 Memory Lane. Staff comments for this particular project were mainly minor and related to the landscaping.
All right, thanks. And do we have a representative for the applicant?
For Ferguson Greenwood Design, we agreed to all staff comments. Answer any questions.
That was much easier than the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Adding parking is a good thing.
Yeah. So just adding parking and
Yep,
could get
yep,
some
for
landscaping.
the vehicle sales, yep.
Okay. So I'm all for extra landscaping if you're adding parking, so. Anybody else have any comments on it? That one looks pretty straightforward. Thanks, we'll see you back in weeks. And we're on the back page of the agenda. All right, item 14, Liberty Branch Condos amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan.
All right. The owner and applicant request approval of an amended PMDP and revised final master development plan for Liberty Branch condos to update the building footprint, adding 42 square feet per unit on 10.10 plus minus acre zoned MU, located at 258 Harris Lane. If y'all are looking at the plans on this, it may have been difficult to tell what changed. Very, very, very small change, going from 848 square feet a unit to 900. So, slight increase in impervious area and slight increase in total overall square footage, but this is very minor. With that, staff had minor comments on this item.
All right, we have a representative for the applicant.
Kyle Schneider with Clover Engineering. Yeah, pretty much it's just added, we took a patio in the back, put a roof over it, just added some second story space. There was already some wiggle room in the stormwater, so I think it comes out to be maybe like 5,000 total square foot of impervious, but that kind of is already factored in and should.
And I remember talking about this one back on my parking thing, so I think you guys provided more than 2 units, 2
Yeah,
parking
yeah.
spaces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like seeing all that parking out there. Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty minor thing to me. Anybody else have any comments, feedback? Pretty straightforward. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
All right, item 15, Smith Scholler Milliken Driveway, amended preliminary master development plan and revised master development plan.
The owner and applicant requests approval for an amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan for Smith Scholar Milliken to add a rear entrance to the site on a 1.2 acre parcel zoned as MRO, multiple residential and office, located at 1164 Nashville Pike. Staff had some relatively minor comments, just to update the plan a little bit to show some more of the existing features.
All right, do you have a representative for the applicant?
A couple of you are really busy tonight.
Yeah.
Drew Ferguson, Greenwood Design. We agreed to staff comments. The one question I did have was for Aaron on the Nashville Pike entrance. The pre-app notes, I wasn't in the pre-app, but I'm assuming Andy or Zach was, said that y'all were okay with keeping that Nashville Pike driveway, but there was a comment stating that you guys were recommending to remove it.
So that's something for this body to decide. At the end of 2001, there was a general development transportation plan amendment for this section of Nashville Pike from 109 to East Camp Creek that basically showed all of these lots as they accessed to like a backage road would lose their connection to Nashville Pike. This one, it did show as keeping it. There was one that showed not having it, or having the connection to National Pike kept, but then, or removed, and then it ended up getting kept. So just the overall spirit of this plan amendment was for, as they connected to the Baggage Road, that they would lose their connection to National Pike. So that would be up to y'all's discretion on whether or not the access to National Pike is retained or removed, but that's why we were making the
But this one showed them retaining it?
Yes, it did. It did,
Final-
but
Yeah, the final corridor management plan shows the Smith Shoulder Drive staying in place.
Yeah, and
So-
all their renditions of it, there's 2 or 3 different options that they would go with.
It is. I mean, full disclosure, I own the property next door to this, so,
Yeah, I think we've kind of messed this up already, but since they had it as showing on the original plan, I don't feel like we can take it away from them, and I'm very
don't-
grateful that they're connecting it.
I think it's a tremendous improvement to connect to that backage road. That whole corridor management plan needs a refresh, just my opinion, but but I think it's an improvement getting it to there. And then my suggestion, and maybe it's something you guys talk to engineering about, is any signage, especially if you could, encourage that to be an entrance only and get the traffic directed out of the back, that would help alleviate that. It's really the people pulling out onto Nashville Pike that's the more of the safety concern, I think.
Or turning left in there is hard too.
Yeah, it can be. But my suspicion is it'll be like a lot of places. Once people know that there's a backage road and, the employees that are there every day, they're going to use the backage road as the default anyway. So, but no, I agree with the mayor. I don't think we could go and say that, that you got to take it off since it's been shown on that corridor plan for 20 some odd years. Yeah, John, by all means.
Yeah, but at this point, I agree. We want to incentivize them to put in the backage road. That was the plan all along. And I don't believe the front entrance driveway should be removed. But I also believe that if we don't remove it, and we shouldn't, we need to revisit this whole corridor plan, because there are other properties on this corridor who did develop and they did lose their front entrance drive. And it's been difficult for them. So I think it's time for this plan to come back before us. I was in favor of holding true to this plan as long as we did, but it's not consistent down through there. So we need to take a look at it and maybe a work session, we can come back and really study that one topic.
I think the issue with that was as properties developed, the plan wasn't followed on all of them, where some, the interconnecting parking lots were done according to the plan, and others they weren't, and it's been kind of I won't say a mess, but it's been a challenge over the years, I think, over there, so. But, all right. No other comments? Appreciate it. See you back in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
All right, item 16 is other business, so, Mr. Rose, do we have any other business this evening?
We don't have any other business. Hopefully, today and last Friday, at least most of you were able to get your interviews done with TPUDC, our consulting firm for the zoning ordinance. And I'll be kind of getting a download from them on that. We've got a few more to reschedule. We did miss a few with folks, but we'll get those probably done within a week or so from today. And so hopefully you guys all had a great discussion with them and were able to kind of give them some good feedback on things that you're thinking about as far as this project is concerned. Feel free to pass along, any thoughts and ideas as well to the staff, but I mean, I'm sure they'll relay that to us as we go along in the process. So, other than that, don't have any, other items to add.
I have one thing, on the upcoming conference, I've not seen an agenda yet.
I can provide that. I've got the agenda.
Fabulous.
And I will email that out. So, yeah, that's a great reminder, though. Those dates for the upcoming conference are April 18th and 19th. That's a Thursday and Friday. And so just weeks away, less than 3 weeks away. So be looking forward to seeing you all there and learning lots of great stuff. So other than that, that's all I've got for other business.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for the time. And with that, we'll be